Greetings, young Marines. We're filming live from the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. Always a solemn and moving occasion when young Marines from around the country join us here. And today, I'm excited to be joined with our Young Marine of the Year, Young Marine Sergeant Major Kayla Colacion.
Thank you, sir.
Ms.
Thank you so
Colacion,
much.
it's good to see you here.
You too, sir.
With
Happy
us.
to be here.
One of the continuing themes today is about service, and it's about leadership in our program. And I really appreciate you stepping up when called to be the National Young Marine of the Year. It was a Saturday morning, and I got a hold of her and her mom, and I said, Ms. Colacion, are you ready to step up and step in? Yes, sir. I didn't even finish my sentence. I said, well, I wanted to give you time to think about it, but the kind of leader that Ms. Colacion is, she was ready, committed, and in the fight immediately. And so I appreciate you for all that, for being the epitome of a young Marine and stepping in to be a leader.
Thank you, sir. I'm so happy to get this opportunity. I'm really excited to meet all these different types of young Marines here and just to have fun with them.
And it is a lot of fun. You know, when we do a lot of events that you're going to see on this episode of Young Marine News Network, a lot of great activities that are going to take place here while we're in the Hawaiian Islands. But today was especially meaningful. We were joined today, really honored to be joined today by several other groups that support both the young Marines and our veterans across the country. Today's ceremony, we were blessed with the presence of the National Commander of the American Legion. We had the Marine Corps League for Hawaii, and we also had the Vietnam Veterans of America Hawaii chapter here joining us during the ceremonies today and presenting wreaths. You know, it's always an honor to have Sergeant Major Overstreet here, not just as a board member, but as a motivator and a real supporter of the Young Marines program for over 2 decades now. And he had the opportunity to introduce one of his Marines from his past, who is now the Sergeant Major, the senior enlisted leader for the Indo-Pacific Command, Sergeant Major Anthony Spadaro.
You know, it was an honor being able to lay the wreath, and it was an honor meeting all the American Legion and even Sergeant Major here, just to get to know them and get to see how much of an impact that we have on them and how much of an impact that Young Marines have on them also.
You know, it really was a series of great speeches and reflections on the nature of service and recognizing the service of the veterans of the past and realizing the promise of the future in our young Marines, that each speaker talked about that they will go on to learn these lessons of service and apply them in their lives as future leaders of this country.
The main reason we're here is to honor our veterans by participating in the Pearl Harbor Remembrance Parade.
Since its inception, Young Marines have been the banner carriers in the parade for all of the capital ships that were sank on December 7th of 1941, in addition to the other banners of all the units participating in the parade. It's a great honor for us to do this every year, and our adults started getting into the action as well by helping participate and direct the balloons that have been introduced to the parade in the last 3 years.
The Young Marines are so excited to be part of this wonderful event.
In the new year, we'll be registering for Spaces 2019. We have a lot of great events. Make sure you go review them and put in for what you're eligible for. But most importantly, make sure you go to Leadership Academy at whatever level that you're eligible for. As we move into February, we're going to be launching our 3rd iteration of the Young Marines Public Affairs course. I'm very excited to have Young Marine Sergeant Major Colacion, a graduate of our 1st Public Affairs course, to tell you all about it.
I had the opportunity this week to spend time with the public affairs correspondents here in Hawaii. They did an amazing job, and it was an honor to be with them the whole week.
And then we'll be moving to the shores of another beautiful tropical island, the island of Guam, when we film our next edition along with all those young Marines that are going to join us for the reunion of honor and our Iwo Jima veterans. So as we ended the events of summer with the Navajo Code Docker celebration, we moved into a new school year, and young Marines all across the country are back in the classroom studying and learning great things as they move forward in their educational careers. And every year we ask young Marines from around the country, our top leaders, the top 10 from Leadership Academy, as well as our 6th Division Young Marines a year, to come together and give us feedback that things they've learned throughout their young Marine careers to try and make the program better in different ways. And this year's symposium was led by Young Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant Bryson Bell, who did a phenomenal job.
Could you tell me a little bit about the teamwork that the members of the Symposium had together while they were there?
Well, one thing that was pretty interesting is the top 10 from ALS had obviously worked together at the National Leadership Academy, but it was a first taste for some of us to work with the Division Young Marine of the Years. And you know, when you have that much leadership and all that in one spot, it is just a breeding ground for new ideas and great information from young Marines.
Would you encourage other young Marines to also try to get to the Symposium?
Absolutely, and part of that would be either becoming a Division Young Marine of the Year, which is a great goal, or graduating the top 10 at the Advanced Leadership School, which in my mind is something that everybody should set their self to.
Do you think the Symposium is an important role that is played in our Young Marine program?
Absolutely. I feel like it's necessary every year to take the cream of the crop young Marines, bring them together, and see what their ideas are.
Could you tell me what are some of the roles that you filled in on? Like, how did you help facilitate the Symposium?
Well, one of the things that I helped facilitate was just the organization and structure, and making sure that everybody was working very hard and working all together, and that we had the objectives done, that we had everything polished. And a part of the polishing process was presenting everything to the division commanders, as well as the executive director, Colonel Davis, had to present all the ideas to them.
Would you say that it was a successful symposium?
Absolutely. It was a great success to my knowledge. We got a lot of things passed through, and we brought a lot of new things to the program that are going to be implemented pretty soon.
Well, thank you so much for being here and talking about the Symposium. I'm sure it was an amazing experience. Signing off for the Young Marines News Network is Young Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant Megan Lynch and Young Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant Bryson Bell.
And I'm really excited and motivated with many of the recommendations that our young Marines came up with, and putting many of them into place in this coming year, some of which are already being written up as we speak. And it seems like fall is always a very busy time for young Marines between the months of October and November, because right after Symposium we move directly into the Young Marine birthday celebrations around the country. Young Marines celebrating the camaraderie and the time spent together in this exciting program. I was very motivated to have the opportunity to go Young Marine birthday balls myself in Arizona and Casper, Wyoming this year, but I know there were great celebrations at so many units across the country.
This year, we celebrate our 59th anniversary as a National Youth Organization. Can't wait till next year to celebrate our 60th anniversary.
Moving into November, we honor our veterans across the nation, not just on Veterans Day itself, but during the entire week. Young Marine units across the country perform various ceremonies in support of veterans organizations, veterans recognition events, including visiting veterans' homes. I was honored to join Tarrant County Young Marines and Young Marine Sergeant Major Colacion as we attended the Fort Worth Parade. Young Marine Sergeant Major Colacion, you've done this for several years now, correct?
Yes, it's amazing to do it every year, you know, honoring the veterans and them coming up to us and us Young Marines coming up to them, thanking them for their service, and the Young Marines enjoy it so much, going through the streets and just hearing the crowds cheer and everything. It's an honor.
It was a whole lot of fun to be there live and in person, and I was just amazed with the outpouring of the city of Fort Worth that they had for their veterans that night, including the guest of honor, who was the local judge, who was a veteran Marine. Fittingly enough, it was celebrated on 10 November, the birthday of the Marine Corps. As we move into December, one of the very special things that we do throughout the year is to work with the Toys for Tots Foundation, oftentimes in partnership with our friends in the Marine Corps League. Young Marines are out there helping collect toys, work in the warehouse, distribute toys, anything you can think of involved in this great organization whose only mission is to ensure every child gets a toy for Christmas. I've worked on it myself with my family. I've watched Young Marines support this all around the country, and you see the joy it brings to the children. And for Young Marines, I think they get a real sense of purpose. And I believe you even sorted a toy or two in your Young Marine career.
Yes, definitely. I've been a part of all 3 cycles, receiving the donations as well as distributing them, and then seeing them get to the families, which is always just an amazing sight to see, seeing the parents smile, seeing that they have something for their kids during the holiday season.
So great job, Young Marines, for supporting Toys for Tots. Let's keep those toys coming to all those kids in need.
So this year we participated in Red Ribbon Week, as we do every year, and we shipped out Red Ribbon Week boxes containing activities books, pencils, crayons, and other types of things that they could use to spread our drug-free message in their own communities. This year, our 2nd year in a row, we did what we called the DDR Dash. It was a 5K in honor of Kiki Camarena and all those DEA agents and law enforcement that sacrificed so much trying to keep the scourge of drug abuse off of our streets. And one of the units that participated was Tarrant County Young Marines out of Fort Worth, Texas. And from Fort Worth, Texas is our very own Young Marine Sergeant Major Kayla Colacion.
I had such a great opportunity to go on Facebook Live and talk about what our unit was doing during the DDR Dash. A lot of the Young Marines enjoyed it, we all cheered each other on, and the big message a lot of Young Marines got was living a healthy drug-free lifestyle while also having fun.
So we had more units than we did last year. In fact, doubled the number of units participated in our DDR Dash this year.
And so we find ourselves on the shores of beautiful Oahu in the state of Hawaii, where Young Marines around the country have gathered as part of the Pearl Harbor Remembrance events. But we kicked off the week with a great community service project at Marine Corps Base Hawaii.
Yes, service is a very big part of the Young Marine organization, and I was actually there with the Young Marines on the beach.
Could you tell me a little bit about what we're doing here today on the beach?
So today what we're doing here on the beach is helping to clean up and to save all the wildlife and make sure this beautiful island stays beautiful. And so one of the biggest things right now is there's constantly trash and everything coming up, and that's hurting a lot of the wildlife, and which is it's sad, but a lot of the wildlife here are now starting to become endangered, and that's one thing that we want to make sure that doesn't happen even more and where they become extinct. We're also thankful for the Marine Corps base letting us stay at the barracks. There's about six Young Marine units staying at the barracks, and this is one thing we can just do to pay it back.
What would you say, how do you say community service kind of helps with our Young Marine Corps values?
You know, just being out there, I mean, teamwork, you know, one person can't clean up a whole beach. It has to take a whole team, so teamwork definitely goes into that. Leadership, you know, have someone establish things, what you need to do, what you need to get done in a timely manner. And discipline, this is teaching a lot of discipline here. Keeping our beaches clean and just keeping the whole environment clean.
This is Young Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant Megan Lynch signing off for Young Marines News Network.
But the fun didn't stop there as we repositioned ourselves to the other side of the island for a motivating walk at Camp Palihua.
We just finished up a motivational hike here at Camp Palihua, and I'm here with Master Gunnery Sergeant Lynch. So what are some things that you learned personally?
It's actually very interesting. So she was telling us that some of the dirt, the soil, even though it looks wet, if you swipe your foot across it, it's really dry. So it's difficult to plant some plants and get this back to a very foresty Hawaiian area because of how dry the soil is. So they have people up here kind of watering and planting plants that are don't need that much water, and then you just kind of start to get into the farther parts of the hike. It starts getting much greener. You can tell the soil is much different. She also talked a lot about erosion and kind of what the rain does to the land and how that erosion causes little hills, basically little dips in the earth. And even some places that they think some of the native people would use to collect water. So that was really interesting.
Today we have a really, really fun day planned. We're gonna do a lot of really crazy stuff. We're heading out with the Golden Gate Young Marines. We're gonna do some snorkeling, maybe go to some botanical gardens, just have a totally fun, relaxed, laid-back day. Are you excited?
I'm super excited, you know, spending time with the Young Marines on a personal level while also doing a lot of fun activities with them. So, you know, I'm super excited about it. I can't wait for it, and I know we're gonna have a lot of fun.
I agree. It's going to be such a great day. We're going to have tons of fun, get to know some new kids, go snorkeling, which is always fun. And here in Hawaii, it's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait.
One of the highlights of the week was at the Polynesian Cultural Center. We learned a lot of great history and had a lot of fun, even some great food too. Hey Young Marines, we're finally here at the Polynesian Cultural Center. We're waiting on the Golden Gate Young Marines to go in and learn about the amazing islands and what each of them hold in the Polynesian chain.
We learned a little bit about Tonga, Tahiti, Hawaii, Fiji, Aotearoa, and Samoa. One thing that I did not know before I came here and kind of read some of these posters was Aotearoa was another name for New Zealand as we commonly know it. I'm so excited to keep learning more as this day goes on.
Next, we went to the Kualoa Ranch. One of the missions for the ranch is to preserve the natural Hawaiian habitats.
We got the bushes up here. They have thorns.
This is outstanding. This is probably one of the coolest and most intact sets that they have on, you know, the Kualoa Ranch.
It's the real life set. This is the bones of rib cage of that they set in the movies. If you kind of look around, there's skulls and bones laid out all over this hill. It's kind of incredible. We got to climb into some of the bones, as you can see, and even in the skull. We're having a ton of fun and just kind of hanging out and seeing some real life movie sets.
Main character, he's up there in the valley as well. My name is Young Marine Master Sergeant Cardwell from the Cincinnati Young Marines. This morning we commemorated the fallen heroes and civilians during the Pearl Harbor attack, and we are here at Marine Corps Base Hawaii in Kaneohe Bay, which was the first landing place of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. This morning we commemorated these fallen heroes by paying our respects to their names and just hearing their names and commemorating the flag. So this afternoon we are marching in the Pearl Harbor Remembrance Parade downtown, and we are marching with the veterans from Pearl Harbor, and we are marching with various groups just to commemorate the fallen heroes again who were in Pearl Harbor.
This is Mr. Earl Hurry. Mr. Earl Hurry is the person that coordinates every year, puts this whole parade together. Earl, hey, thanks so much for keeping the Young Marines included in this. And so when do you start your planning for this?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? That's what I thought. Yeah.
We literally have an after-action report meeting within a week of the parade, and we start planning the next parade. And I've already started putting together the bands and floats and the ceremony and what have you.
Just amazing.
It never stops.
And you reach out to units from all across the country. We bring in people from other states that come here just like the Young Marines to be part of the parade.
Absolutely.
And you've been adding in balloons the last couple of years.
Correct.
So we have the
They have the Eagle.
We got the Eagle back there.
The Arizona. And we got the Marine General this year.
Yeah, they got the new Marine General this year, which is a new one. And our adult volunteers are out there helping haul those balloons and do some teamwork.
We could not, the Pearl Harbor Parade Committee could not do this parade, sir, without the Young Marines. They carry all of our banners. They carry all of our deceased sailors. Every one of those flags that you see in the parade are carried by a Young Marine. Every banner that's carried in the parade is carried by a Young Marine. The focus of the parade is on our survivors, but it would not happen without the Young Marines, and we really appreciate that.
Well, we are always honored, and it's privileged us for participating in this. Thank you so much for including us. Thank you for what you do to bring this off. It's the right thing to do for these people, for these men who sacrifice so much, for the families. Just truly outstanding, Earl.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for everything.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Hoorah.
This parade is to commemorate the attack on Pearl Harbor. Make sure that we always remember that day, that fateful day, and what led us into the world we have today, sir.
Many of these Pearl Harbor survivors have never returned to Pearl Harbor in the 75 years since the attacks on December 7, 1941. This year, they are joined by their brothers who served in the European and Greater Pacific theaters during World War II.
And while we remember the heroes of that era, I'm also moved by the sure knowledge that we will have an even greater generation of young men and women that are imbued with the American ideas of patriotism, service before self, and love of country.
Learning about Pearl Harbor and we learn about these fallen heroes, I know that I have learned the quality of determination. And when I hear about the stories of these fallen heroes that were a part of the Pearl Harbor Remembrance, or a part of the Pearl Harbor attack, I learned that they have such determination for keeping the freedom of our country. And I know that if I take that back to my unit, I know that I can learn that I do everything for my Young Marines.
I'd hope that the young Americans, especially young Marines of today, understand from events like this that it'll always take Americans to defend our principles, and at times, and at the worst times, that they will give their lives for the principles we love so much.
That wraps up for this edition of Young Marine News Network in this beautiful state of Hawaii.
Young Marines, stay motivated, stay engaged, and keep living the healthy, drug-free lifestyle. Hoorah!